I'm Brayden and I won the BAFTA Kids Young Presenter competition back in 2017. Now I started presenting because I wanted to share my passion for the football club Manchester City. But from there, it exploded out of control and I've been lucky enough to meet some phenomenal people and travel to some incredible places. But there are various different reasons for why you guys would want to start presenting. And of course, we've all had very different experiences and inspirations. Now, BAFTA and our friends at Cinemagic wanted us to share our stories. So I'm going to be chatting with the new presenter, Gracie. And you'll also be hearing from Avi, Jack, Harrison, Malik, Sophie and Miriam. And the one thing we all have in common is the need to express ourselves. So I really do hope you enjoy these conversations.
Hi Brayden, how are you? I'm Gracie, how are you?
It's cool to come and have a chat to you today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, yeah. Have you, how's secondary school been? I know you've started secondary school recently.
I have, yeah, it's all right. It's a whole new world. Still finding my feet, but it's so cool. Right, so we're here to have a chat about presenting. So if you don't mind, I'm going to kick it off with this question because I'm quite interested to know. What made you want to start presenting? Was it like, did you want to challenge yourself? Where did it all come from?
So basically, you know, Ant and Dec, they're massive in the whole world really, but they were my inspiration, and I've always wanted to get to where they are now, sort of thing. And I love being in front of camera. Basically, I've been in front of camera since I was 6 years of age. I started off by doing YouTube and that, and then obviously that was a good base to start with. But yeah, that's where I want to get to, and they're my inspiration at the moment. So you never know, Brayden. Me and you could be the next dream team.
Yeah, Sunday night takeaway.
I like that one, yeah.
So for me, I started presenting really by accident. I fell into it, but in a good way. I started by meeting one of the footballers for Manchester City, and then it led to getting in a taxi with the manager. And then I was lucky enough to win the BAFTA Kids Young Presenter competition 3 years ago now. And from there, it then spiraled into like this insane journey of going to different places, exploring, doing different things that I've never done before. So I properly started presenting, I'd say 3 years ago. I then started to work for Sky, and I'm still lucky enough to be doing that today.
Yes, obviously you are the FYI presenter. So I was going to ask you, obviously you've been so many places to report for FYI. What has been your favourite place that you've been?
Well, for me, the one that first comes to mind, I went to Brazil and I interviewed this one. This one was really, it was an eye-opener. I wouldn't say it was good, but it wasn't fun to see. It was pretty bad. I was lucky enough to actually go and see in further detail what happens in the favelas. And I met a girl called Victoria, whose dad's in prison, and it's so corrupt over there. And I did that and finished that just before the coronavirus started. So that was my latest one. But how has presenting helped you? Like confidence, is anything like that? How has it really helped you develop?
It's really boosted my confidence, and little things now, like even in school and that, I really think, yeah, I can do this. And so yeah, in that sort of sense, it's really boosted my confidence, and I feel a lot better for who I am now. I feel like, yeah, I'm Gracie, I can do this sort of thing. So yeah, in that sort of sense, really boosted my confidence, and I feel like I've come a long way with presenting since when I first started.
What would be like your top tips for anybody who wants to become a presenter like you?
I'd say to be yourself. The number one thing is to be yourself and try and have fun with everyone and really enjoy who you're talking to, and and be open as well. Like, no one's going to want to watch a boring interview that's just, hello, I'm Gracie, how are you? You've got to be bubbly and fun. So yeah, just be yourself, be excitable, and yeah, that's the main thing for me. What about you? What are your top tips?
For me, I'd probably say research as well, because I think it goes a long way. You don't need to know the insides and outs about the person you're interviewing, but as long as you have a few good facts that you've got up your sleeve, I think
like a baseline, yeah.
Really, knowledge is power, as they say. And for me, I have a bank of questions. So if there's an awkward silence, if there's a piece of an interview that you forget, let's say you forget one of the questions, you have something to fill in the gaps with. So really they're neutral questions, not directed to anybody really. I mean, you could have some that are directed to certain categories, so one directed to actors, presenters and everything like that. And I always think it's a good one to open it up. And of course, confidence as well is key. You don't want to go into it shy. You don't want to be shying away from people. Even if you're a bit starstruck, you want to be in there. You want to get a good interview. So they would probably be my tips.
Have you had any positive or negative experiences?
Well, for me, positives, there's loads of them. Most of the people that talk to me through DMs and comments and all that, most of them are really nice to me. I mean, everybody I've met in person, let's say 99.9% of the time, they are the nicest people in the world. I mean,
there's a big majority who are really friendly in that.
Loads of them are friendly, really. But then it does have its downsides. There's always somebody who's jealous of you. They're always wanting to bring you down, no matter really whatever you do. They don't like seeing you thriving and doing well. I mean, it's jealous, very jealous, top and bottom of it. It's hatred, it's jealousy, right? You ignore it and you carry on doing what you want to do. Move on. Oh, look, he just said that. Okay, move on. It's like, really, who's winning? The person who's doing nasty comments to you, or you who's going to work for BAFTA? I mean, I think we all know who the clear winner is there. Now, we have covered this a little bit, and we were saying our top tips for presenting. But what about your tips for developing? So, like, if let's say somebody wanted to start creating content, where would you say to go? Where would you say to start? What would you say to, like, go from the bottom and try and work your way to the top? What would your tips be for that?
That's a really good question. I think, obviously, I think you should get a baseline at first. For example, YouTube. I use YouTube a lot as when I was first started off. I'd use that to practice. Obviously, you can make videos, but you don't have to upload them. Or you could just use the videos that you can look back on them and practice with like their mistakes sort of thing. So I think YouTube would be a very good baseline to start off with, and then try and move to more podcasting or radio presenting or things like that, or trying to do radio covers or podcasting. I think that would be a very good idea. Even on things like Spotify, make your own Spotify podcast. I think that would be a good next step to move on to.
I'm not just saying this as well, but one thing I always recommend to people that are starting out is the competition. And I'd always recommend the BAFTA Kids Young Presenter competition to anybody. Because first of all, if you do win it, like me and you were lucky enough to, it spirals into loads of different things, and then you have a big baseline, and it's a massive boost to wherever you really want to go to.
It's been amazing talking to you, Brayden, and obviously I hope it all continues very well for you. I'm sure it will, and I wish you all the best in the future.
Well, thank you, Gracie, for letting me have a chat to you today.
No problem, anytime.
We've not really properly spoke to you yet, so it was nice to have a catch up and find out, some of the ice-breaking questions that we wanted to know. So really thank you for joining me, Gracie. I wish you all the best for the future. I'm sure there'll be a lot of good things to come, and hopefully one day we'll have a Gracie and Brayden show. Sunday night takeaway.
Hi, my name is Malik. And basically I'm a young inspiration. I own my own business, which is called I'm King, which is kind of like a motivational and inspirational brand that basically promotes the message of kind of knowing your power and to show that basically your mind is the limit. I also done certain presenting jobs, as well as I like to also write my own lyrics and also create beats as well. So there's a lot of things that I'm passionate about that I like to do that I also like to reflect in my brand as well.
That's really cool. So hi, my name is Abby and I've just turned 13 and I'm the founder of Girls into Coding, which is a community interest company. And my mission is to try and get more girls involved in tech, as through running workshops and events, I've noticed that girls are underrepresented, and I feel like it's kind of like my duty to kind of help that gender gap and bring more girls into tech and STEM based activities.
I had a question for you because you're into coding, obviously, and as you already said, you're more about like bringing girls into coding. So I'm thinking, aside from that, what's been like a major challenge for you that like you've had to push through, like to get to where you are today? Because obviously you're quite established, you've got multiple awards, but what's one of the most challenges that you've had to push through?
So that's a really interesting question. So I think that one of the biggest challenges for me was at the very start, where we had to obviously find some funding to run the events, as we wanted as many girls as possible to be able to come, and we wanted to have a really nice space where the girls would feel inspired and their minds would be like, ready, not just like a doom and gloom kind of place where you can't really work properly. So
Yeah.
I think that definitely the start and looking for funding, and what I did, I crowdfunded for that. But I've never done anything like that before, as it was the start. So definitely crowdfunding for my first ever Girls into Coding event was probably the most challenging thing that
Yeah, I think it's the same for me, because one big challenge that I went through was actually like, it sounds like weird to say, but it actually was like originally starting up, because when I started, like there was a lot I had to go through. Like I remember the first event that I ever showcased my business at, it was all scrambling. I was scrambling together, but like I had to like do everything in a short space of time. So yeah, that was a big challenge for me as well.
Okay, so another question I wanted to ask you is, what motivates you to keep carrying on what you're doing?
That's definitely, there's multiple aspects to it, because sometimes, a lot of the time actually, when I go to events, I do get very demotivated, like no one's really listening to me, what's the point of doing this? But then there are certain moments where I feel like what I do is needed among my peers, because like I'm always like surrounded by people. I'm like a people person, so when I'm around my friends and my peers, I see that there's like a lack of motivation, a lack of like, just like a lack of foresight for where they're going. And I've personally made it my duty so that they're inspired. They know that mind is the limit. Whatever you want to do can be achieved with enough time and enough consistency. That's one thing that's motivated me, but a lot of the things that motivate me is really being recognized, because a few people have recognized me, such as Cephas Williams from 56 Black Men, George the Poet, who's an established artist, and yeah, different things like that. That's the kind of stuff that keeps me going. And also just the thought of like doing something to help this generation, to help next generation, and to have something to be remembered by, really. And I was also going to ask, like, how important do you think it is, like, as you, to a lot of girls, you would be a role model, but also generally being a role model for, like, in general, Black youth as well? How important do you think it is being a role model for young Black youth?
I think that's a really good question, and I think that's really important for me, because obviously I'm a Black girl in tech, and that can have its disadvantages, and that's why, like for me, social media is a really big has a really big impact, because we want to try and attract as many people as possible, and I think that it's important to show that everyone, no matter like what race you are or what religion or anything like that, that you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to feel like held back. So I think that's really important for me, and I'm still trying to be able to connect to as many different people in many different diverse backgrounds as possible. So yeah. So the question I'm going to ask you now, I know that when I get asked this question, it's something like, oh, I'm not too sure. But what do you see yourself doing 5 years from now?
To be fair, I see myself, because right now I've started I Am King, and like I started it about 2 years ago now. So I've been running it for quite a while. But what I like to do in my spare time is I like make beats, like, and I produce certain tracks. Another thing I do is also rap, and that's something that I definitely find very inspirational. And my main goal is to basically have I'm King just running automatically, so that I'm not really putting as much in apart from doing what I love about I'm King.
So I can see that the crown on your logo and on your t-shirt is quite cool. And to me, it kind of reminds me of some of the work by the artist Basquiat. I don't know if you heard about him.
In fact, that's a funny story, because when I was starting my business, that was originally where I got my inspiration from. Because every time Basquiat did one of his art pieces, he would always sign it with a crown, a specific crown that he said represented Black King. So that's originally where I got my inspiration from. And even now, he's the one person that I find inspirational within my brand. And he's kind of like the backbone in terms of how I started my brand as well. So yeah, it was great talking to you today. Obviously you're a good conversationist, good interviewee, and I can tell like you're similar to me. You're very advanced in the answers of your questions. So yeah, it was good talking to you today.
It was also really great talking to you as well, Malik, and I really enjoyed kind of listening to some of your insights and what you think.
Hi.
Hello. I am Jack Hazard. I am 14 years old and I am from Northern Ireland, Lisburn. I have a YouTube channel that's still in early development. I write books, play a lot of sports, and I do public speaking for the school.
Okay, so hi, my name is Mariam. I'm 14 years old. I'm a presenter, actor, and I'm also a musician. I have my own YouTube channel, The Mighty Wise Show. And also I love to be an inspirer and help people get into presenting. Anyways, I can start firstly. When did you start presenting?
So I started when I was about towards maybe 6 or 7. I've done a lot of I love film and TV. I'm a chatty guy, so I like to interact with people, ask a lot of questions and all. I even participated in the BAFTAs, kids BAFTAs, which takes place in London, which I flew over last year in December, given an award and all.
What? An award?
Yes.
Wow.
The envelope and go, and the winner is.
Oh, that is amazing. Oh, I feel so bad now. I only started presenting maybe last year or so. Me and my brother were rappers and we started doing a show, doing little things, bits and pieces. And then I think there was the competition, the BAFTA Young Presenter. It just came out and I was just like, oh, this could be something different, because I love talking to people, interacting. So I thought this could be different. I can start presenting. So then I entered for that competition and started presenting different other shows as well outside of BAFTAs. And I enjoyed it so much. And then when they told me that I was one of the finalists, I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And sadly, I didn't win, but Gracie won, and it was. But you know, it was a great experience and it was lovely. And I thought presenting is something so fun. And I just thought, I'll just keep on going with this. So anything that I have to do, I'll just present. But yeah. So what do you think is like a negative experience when it comes to presenting?
Well, sometimes when I was in primary school, I would try and do these some things in regards to being big. I tried one year trying do we had to do a play with another school. And I was the narrator, so I had a lot of lines. But in primary school, there was some people who were a bit picky, picked on me. So it was always coming back in mind. If I go, I could be judged. But I stuck to my guns and hoped that it would work.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's what I think, like the negative experiences, haters online. I mean, there's so much people that just can't accept you
Yes.
as how you are. So, I mean, you just have to ignore them. It's just after a period, you just think, ugh, there's always going to be a hater. So I think you just have to move on. And anyways, that just boosts your self-esteem and confidence to just prove them wrong, isn't it? And you did well for doing that.
I did. That's the good thing.
Yeah, that's the good thing.
So, what have you learned from doing presenting, and how did it help you in like other stages of life?
Oh my God, there's so much things you can learn from presenting. I mean, I had confidence from the beginning, but it just boosted my confidence more. It made me feel happy to like talk to other people, and I just felt comfortable when talking to other people, because that's another thing that you need when you're older, like interviews for jobs and such. And also there's the technical side, like I learned how to do editing, lighting, positioning, also tones. You need to change your tones, and all these different things that just help when you're older that you don't even notice, but then later on you just think, wow, I've learned so much things that will help me.
Yeah. From what I've learned was that like to always keep eye contact, obviously, but then also when you're in front of a big audience, just to be cool. And like they don't know what they're gonna say. So if you make a mistake by accident, you roll with it because they don't know.
Exactly. That's what I remember when I did the play, because I'm an actor as well, and we had to do this play at school, and the thing was I forgot the lines, but I just improvised, because the audience don't know what you're gonna say. So that's the best thing, isn't it?
It is. Speaking of, I just remembered, have you had a positive, because we talked about the negative experience of presenting, what is a really big positive for you in like in the higher eyes?
I think positive experience. You know what? Have you heard that me and my brother did a Mighty Y show? We did a show, and
I've seen some of your videos.
Oh, thank you. And from the episodes, we had so much. The last episode, I wasn't expecting it, but we had so much calls and emails from people saying why they loved it, how they found us like big inspirations and stuff. And we weren't expecting that. We just did the show for the show. We just wanted people to smile, children to smile. So when we got all these calls and emails, I was just like, wow, so this is how it feels. And it just like boosts your self-esteem, and it was just so fantastic.
Yep.
Then I have to ask you then, positive experience?
Yes, definitely going to London for the BAFTAs.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, like it was so weird. Like we were doing practice and like, okay, and then I was like, okay, you're giving out the word, and then she's like, yep, and then went, hold on, went over to talk to the guy on the camera and also the guy next. I was like, what's going on? And like, okay, you're giving out the stuff, and I was like, what? It's like, oh, so much responsibility. Oh,
it must have been so nerve-wracking.
Yes.
And there was so much people, of course.
Oh yes, there was a lot, but nerves are good, and
nerves are good.
They give you more energy, you know, and it was really good because I got to learn a lot of tips and like tricks from her, like for like presenting, like how to deal with an audience. Just stay calm, pretend like it's a black curtain, and that's it. So, do you have any top tips for developing skills? So like in general, so like for presenting, interviewing.
Top tips. I mean, as I said, be yourself, and the most important thing, you need to understand your weaknesses and work on them, because then it makes you feel more comfortable. Because if you have weaknesses, it's horrible, especially when presenting. So you need to like work on them, and also your strengths. You need to like, if you have a strength, it doesn't mean that it's the best, but then if you work on your strengths, it will get stronger and stronger, and that would be a big advantage, isn't it?
Like practice your best skills.
You practice your best skills.
I also like listen to your pros, like listen to some like people who've got more experience in the industry for advice. So like how do I deal with 50,000 people? How do I deal with one person? How do I deal with and so forth?
That's another important thing. Researching is so important to research what you want to do. Like YouTube, if you want to start a YouTube channel, you need to understand how to do it, how to succeed. And that if you want to be a radio presenter, you just need to understand and research.
Yep. I have a nice quote from Star Wars, if you know it. It's from Yoda: do or do not, there is no try. You get this, you see an opportunity, you go for it. Like last year I also went on the radio. I saw the opportunity and I just went for it. Goodbye, Miriam. It's nice to meet you.
Bye Jack, nice to meet you.
I was going to let him win that one.
Oh, well, tough. I won. Yeah. Give me my microphone. Let me go.
Well done, Harrison. Well done.
Get out of it. Go on.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. So shall we introduce ourselves to the people who are watching? Do you want to go first? Tell them a bit about you, what you've done, what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Sophie. I'm turning 15 on Thursday. And I go to a technical college, and I've learned games design, graphics, and history there, and the basic subjects for GCSE.
Yeah.
I'm an actor, so I do acting jobs. I'm in the National Youth Theatre. I do a lot of stuff for BAFTA sometimes, and I do stuff for my acting class. The other thing about me is that I'm a gamer, so I'm always on my Xbox. So if I'm never on my phone, I'm on my Xbox. So yeah.
Well, I'm Harrison. I'm 14. I would class myself as a presenter and content creator. Presenting, I started off with BAFTA when I entered the Young Presenter competition. That was in 2017, so that was a few years ago now.
Yeah.
And then was a runner-up on that, and have done a few events with BAFTA, and I spoke at the Children's Media Conference as a change maker, which was amazing. That was such a cool experience.
Yeah. What made you get into BAFTA? Like, what really inspired you to audition for BAFTA and get into presenting?
It's this thing when people say like, oh, so, you know, how did you get into it? Like, how long did it take to get into it? I didn't necessarily think, oh, I want to be a presenter. Like, that didn't really cross my mind. And I honestly cannot remember where I saw the ad, but there was an advert on a website for BAFTA Kids Young Presenter competition. And I looked, and I'm very like, I'm very impatient. So if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. And so that night I got my brother, and we filmed a video, and I interviewed him about football. So random. Interviewed him about football, and me with my little suit and stuff, honestly so embarrassing, and sent it in, and then they liked it, and we did a Skype chat, and then I was announced as one of the runners up. So it kind of just happened, really. What about you? What made you want to?
Well, really, I don't actually remember. I think I saw the ad. No, my mum told me about the ad, and I was just like, yeah, it would be great to be a presenter as a side job from acting, really. And so I got down to the final 10. I had to go down to London. I was part of the big audition, and also to be part of a television set was so amazing for me.
Yeah.
As soon as, like, if I was going to be an actor, I'd need to be in that set anyway. And then the person won it, Daniel McGovern. I was a bit gutted, but
yeah,
I was proud of myself that I actually got the guts to go down to London, be on TV.
Yeah.
And then, like, actually the experience as well actually gave me a lot of confidence as well.
I've got autism and ADHD. So for me, I think a real like motivation to keep it up was because presenting really took me out of my comfort zone. It was something completely new. And because I guess like what I spoke about at the Children's Media Conference was there's such a stereotype with autism or ADHD, what that should look like, what a person will be like if they've got that. And it can be that, or it can be the complete opposite on either side of the spectrum. But I think when I kind of realized that someone with autism and ADHD and who's gone through stuff like that can go on stage in front of loads of people and talk openly, I think that's when I kind of realized that like I can do something with that and have a reason to present, if that makes sense. Yeah. What would you say are things that have kind of motivated you to do what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing, and have been like a passion that's made you think I can do this because of this, if that kind of makes sense?
Well, actually, mine's very similar to yours. When I was younger, I lost one of my brothers, and he had an undiagnosed mental illness, and it kind of like annoyed me that nobody tried to help him in the ways that he needed. And the only people that was helping him was his family. So me, my mum, my dad, and like doctors weren't helping him really. So when I started acting, I was like, well, with the money that I earn as an actor, I'm going to open a big centre everywhere as much as possible to help people who need the mental health problems. So yeah, ADHD, autism, bipolar, just anything really. Like if they're feeling down, then they can go straight there. Also, my brother was homeless for some time, so obviously I would have half of it mental health wise and half of it like homeless wise. So if they needed a sandwich or something to keep it warm throughout the day, they can nip in and get one. So that's something that I've always wanted to do. But also, like with my acting pieces, I express how other people are feeling through my acting to make them feel better about themselves. Like you're not the only one who thinks like that, if you get what I mean. That's my motivation, really, for other people.
What would you say are like some tips on actually interviewing someone?
It's been a long time since I've actually interviewed someone, but when I interviewed Ben Hay now, I was proper chill. I was like, you know, he's a human. He's like you at the end of the day. Just because he's got a few more, like a fair few more followers, and that he's actually won something on TV, doesn't mean that he's any different to you. So I just sat there and I was like, oh, chill. Like I wasn't, you know, kissing his feet or anything, bowing down to him. I was just like, you know, just sit here, just chill. You just got to pretend that he's like your mate or something, like you actually know him. So that's a big tip for me, because I always say that to myself, you know what, he's just your mate, just talk to him. So
and if you can have that feel of just a conversation and it not be question answer, you know, don't feel awkward if there's a little pause and you need to take a minute to check your questions, like that's fine. Go in there being yourself, because you can't put on an active interviewing. It's not acting, it's not anything else. It's presenting. It's people want you, they want a personality, not just question answer, someone who can make a joke and who can make it feel really natural. So just have a chat and a conversation as opposed to a complete interview. I think we've covered a lot today. It's been wonderful chatting to you.
Yeah, it's been wonderful chatting to you too. Like, I didn't know much about you when we started, but I think it's good to have these talks, really, even if like it's just a little mini FaceTime call. Good for other people as well, to keep your mental health up as well. So I've met somebody new, which is score one, because now I've got another friend added to my list. So at least it's like something out of it, really.